Today's race was so hard. It was just like unrelentingly muddy.
It was kind of chaotic out there and the mud made it really crazy, but always makes for exciting racing.
Just a brutal, hard day. It was really muddy and yeah, just a bit of a slog at some spots. Heavy duty riding and kind of power sucking terrain.
You come around a corner and it's just this gnarly climb with a bunch of super thick mud.
My bike may or may not have gotten destroyed, but other than that, it was really good. I paced it really well. You know, I used my power meter. The front group was going really hard, and I knew I needed to dial it back to last the whole race, and actually I finished the strongest I've ever finished a race before.
I use the power meter to really watch my watts pushing over the top of hills, because often I hit the top of the hill and back the watts down a lot. Now I make sure I push over with the same amount of watts, and you gain a lot of time on guys. So it's just to be mindful of always putting pressure in the pedals.
Sometimes, especially in race settings, you trick yourself a little bit about how hard you're going or how hard you're not going. So I usually have it pulled up on the screen just to reference, be like, okay, we're actually really pushing on this climb. Does that line up with how I feel? The more power you create, the more kilojoules you burn, the more calories you should be sure that you're taking in. So I use that as a reference point there too.
The power meter is super important for training, just to track your progress, and you can kind of have a good idea of where you're going to sit around in the race.
I've been training with power on and off, and now that I'm training more seriously, I'm getting back into it just because I find it so valuable to have those numbers behind what I'm doing. I have done a lot of training by feel in the past, but it's really cool to then go back and tie the numbers to it and really see where you stack up.
It's really helpful training for gravel because it's nice to be able to go out and do your intervals on gravel and get a feel for kind of putting down power in that rougher, bumpier sort of conditions versus just on a trainer where it's a little bit easier to stay focused.
Early on we were trying, there was kind of a series of 3 gradual climbs, and we wanted to make those sections hard. So yeah, kind of riding those, you know, threshold or around that.
I do find it very helpful to be looking at the power instead of just going off feel or heart rate, because that's so variable, but your power is usually a lot more consistent.
There's kind of like this trifecta of things as a coach that we want to look at. You know, there's perceived exertion, that's a classic one, there's heart rate, and there's power. And you get the most complete picture when you have all 3 of those. Plus the beauty of power is those other 2 things, they don't actually show improvement, but having a power meter can show improvement over time. You can see, okay, my athlete could do this 6 months ago, but now we're hitting these power numbers. So it just adds that extra metric that's really helpful to see and really encouraging for them to see, assuming that you do see improvement.